everyone, I'm Alanah from IGN here with Dave from Gunfire Games, and today we are checking out Darksiders 3. What are we looking at right now?
So this is an area that's fairly early in the game. There's a small sequence before this, but it's one of the first areas you come to in the game called Haven.
Very pretty.
It is.
What happened there?
That's one of her new abilities. So her main weapon is the whip, and she can also use it to swing around the environment and grab enemies and that sort of thing. So you saw her use... That's probably the first time in the game you were required to use the whip.
Oh, no way. It's cool to see that. So what are we walking into right here?
So in Darksiders 1, there was a character called Ulthane who was one of the makers, and he lived in a little area of the city that was overgrown with trees. Not quite this overgrown, and he's returning in this game.
He made you a sword, right?
He did,
yes.
Actually. He made the Master Sword or whatever
yes.
our equivalent of the Master Sword is.
So we're jumping on an elevator here.
Yeah.
This is all really pretty.
Yeah. One of the cool things we want to do in the game was we didn't want everything to be like horrific and destroyed. And the old thing kind of presented a good opportunity for that, where his area of the city is being protected from the demons and all the stuff that's happening in the apocalypse. And because of that, it's the influence of the makers in general is that they make things kind of pretty and grow. So
yeah.
Kind of him just being here makes this area of the city overgrown and lush and beautiful.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, it's kind of a good service they provide.
I feel like this is a lot greener than some of the areas in Darksiders 1 and 2.
Yeah, we wanted to have a lot more contrast visually. Like a lot of stuff in Darksiders was very brown and dark and dreary, and we wanted to have areas that were more lush, and we really just wanted to expand the palette of colors and stuff like that within the game.
So we're seeing her get into some combat here. That's a cool flip.
Yeah, this is her primary weapon. So she uses the whip for... she'll have other weapons in the game, which, at some point we'll show off, but her primary weapon is her whip, so she can flip around. She has a lot of the same basic combo you would expect from a Darksiders game. She's got rhythm moves, she's got air attacks and juggles and all that kind of stuff. So she's got a pretty expansive combat repertoire.
It's going to be upgradable?
Yep, you can upgrade the whip. It can, does more damage. You can unlock new abilities and stuff, or new moves and combo moves and stuff like that, similar to the past games.
Yeah, this looks really quick.
Yep, and she's it's funny because Death was like super fast. That guy was like, so she's probably somewhere between War and Death as far as the quickness of her combat.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, some of these moves are, because she's kind of like, she's supposed to be a mage, and so some of these moves are supposed to be a little more magical in origin, and it comes into play a lot more with some of her secondary weapons, but a little bit with her whip.
And I really love how flowy her hair is, actually.
Her hair is a big part of her character. Like, we wanted something identifiable about her that was uniquely hers. Like, Death had his mask, War had, like, I don't know, everything, basically. And hers was the hair. So, and you see it a lot in the promo, which is like it really draws her hair, and her hair actually changes based on her abilities in the game. Yeah,
it looked like it kind of happened in combat. It was flaring up more, and then when she was out of combat, it sort of died down.
It doesn't actually obey the laws of physics, so it's it's going all over the place, and depending on what she's doing, it can do whatever it wants, basically.
Who needs hair physics?
Exactly.
So what's going on here? We're in some kind of old... So we are on Earth, clearly. This is some kind of old station or something?
Yeah, so one of the primary antagonists in the game are the 7 deadly sins, and so each sin has its own unique area. This is the first sin you encounter in the game, Sloth, and he's kind of a bug-like creature that lives in the sewers. We call it an area of the game called the Nether, and it's kind of like sewers, subway, anything beneath the city.
Okay. Interesting.
And they all have an influence on their quote-unquote realm. So here he's kind of like we go with this idea that they're terraforming Earth. So the area he's in, he's terraforming now, and it's all bug-ridden. There's like webs on the walls and weird egg sacs and all that sort of stuff.
So to not get too deep into story stuff, where were the sins in the other 2 games? Or why are we just fighting them now?
The sins are like these really powerful beings that the horsemen actually killed and imprisoned. And they've been in prison for who knows how long. Could have been thousands of years. It doesn't really matter. And the events of the apocalypse afforded them the ability to escape. And this is all revealed in like the first 30 seconds of the game, so I'm not like spoiling anything. So Fury is basically sent to Earth to take down the 7 deadly sins and put them back in prison.
That sounds hard.
Yes, it is very, especially since it took all 4 of them the first time to do it.
Yeah, right. So it's just her and there's 7 of them. And so the idea is being that each environment, if we're seeing bugs here, that there's 7 different distinct kind of environments.
Yeah, and the idea is that, exactly. We wanted to theme the game around the sin. So every time you go to a new area, the enemies, the puzzles, the environment, it's all kind of themed around that sin, and ultimately it culminates in a boss fight with them.
Right. And we've seen some enemies here. How many new enemies are in the game?
There's a lot of new enemies. We brought a few back from Darksiders 1 and 2 as it
Yeah.
made sense. For example, the Phantom Guard are on Earth, like building the destroyers.
This guy's not new, right?
Yeah. No, this guy's new.
He is new, okay.
All the guys in this area actually are new.
Oh, no way.
There was a Phantom Guard earlier in the city that was from the past games, but especially when you get into the sin areas, most of the enemies in those areas are unique because they're kind of themed to that sin, and we didn't have those in the past games.
Yeah, and I also really like the lighting in here. There's all these, what are the blue things? Are those eggs?
Yeah, those are sort of the egg sacs. It's pretty cool if you look at them closely. There's like stuff squirming under the surface.
Well, that makes me like them slightly less. I was sold on it until you said that, and now it's gross. So we're seeing a creepy hallway here. I've seen this before, and it totally makes me think of Chronos, which is one of the last games that you guys made on Oculus. So it's like, it looks like there's been a lot of different inspirations. You've got, what you've worked on from Chronos, the original games, and all of the things that have happened between Darksiders 2 and 3 have all kind of like pieced together to make this one huge thing.
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the cool things about the Darksiders franchise is that like juxtaposition of like the real world and fantasy. Like, I like seeing. Like, I loved the Goonies when I was a kid, which is like one of my favorite movies, because I like, hey, there's a pirate ship in a cave, that's badass. And so I always liked the idea that, like, hey, there's something cool and interesting in the real world, and Darksiders is like the ultimate manifestation of that.
Yeah,
there's one of the 7 deadly sins in the sewer, because of course there is, and that's awesome.
Where else would he be? But yeah, it's cool. We're literally in a subway right now. Ooh, who's this?
So this is one of the, like an introduction of one of the early puzzle mechanics. We had these little bombs in the other Darksiders you could pick up and throw.
Yeah.
So in this game, they're bugs, so they kind of have their own behavior. They walk around.
Himself.
They'll fly around in different circumstances. This is obviously like the most basic version where he blows a hole in the floor, but we build upon those mechanics as you play through the game.
So this is like kind of an introduction to that mechanic?
Exactly, yeah. That would be the first time you saw the bug.
Ooh, what's this guy doing?
That's one of those guys just hanging from the ceiling.
That seems fun.
Yeah, I mean, why not? What else are you going to do?
Just hanging out in this subway? May as well just hang on the ceiling. What else is there? Everyone's kind of dead.
One other cool thing we're doing is we're not really doing like the combat room thing where you walk in the room and the door's shut.
Yeah.
So we're trying to think of more organic ways to introduce enemies, and we're doing our best to make it feel like, hey, these guys have a purpose in the world. Those guys are sleeping. You might run across some other bugs eating some food on the ground.
So they aren't just there to wait for the player and involve them. Yeah, it's a good idea.
It's always weird when you walk in a game and there's just like 3 guys just wandering around in like a random pattern. Like, why are they doing that?
Suddenly they cued you and they all just run at you. It doesn't make any sense. Ooh, you can see this fat guy in the background here now.
Yeah, so that's Sloth just kind of chilling out on his throne waiting for you. And we don't
Being lazy.
Yeah, we don't have the cutscenes in yet, so you won't see that. But he'll have his own dialogue and cool introduction to him, but you get to see the fight, which is
What's he going to sound like?
He's kind of laissez-faire because he's Sloth. So he's one of the... It's funny because when he talks about the apocalypse and stuff, he's like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really care what's happening.
Just wants to nap.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his little bugs that carry him around, and he's cool with that. And
Lord of the Flies. It's cool.
we try to, like, really play up the aspect of this in. In this case, he's lazy, obviously, so he has these other bugs kind of carry him around on his throne while he tries to attack you.
Ugh.
Because why walk for yourself when other people can?
God, it seems just... like it would be so awful to actually be there. I'm glad it's Fury and not me.
Oh yeah, Sloth stinks.
Yeah, there's no way he smells
that
good.
guy does not bathe himself.
No.
I guarantee.
No.
I like how when he's sitting on his throne, he's just kind of idly scratching his stomach.
Yeah.
And again, we want to portray the fact that he's just kind of bored of your. And it comes across in the cutscene where he's like, "Why are you here? Why are you bothering me?
You're just a minor inconvenience."
Yeah, I'm just down here like chillaxing.
Well, each of them would know who the horsemen are, though, right?
Oh, they know because you put them in prison, so they have some animosity towards you. You're basically the jailer or the cop coming back to get these guys and put them back in prison. So.
Oh, it looks like he does a lot of damage.
Yeah, the sins are pretty tough, and looks like we're gonna die here.
R.I.P. He's like hit us twice. Oh man, that's crazy.
We also have this tradition where the first boss in all our games is like super hard. Like I don't know if you remember the Bat Queen. From Darksiders.
That fight took me a long time. Yeah.
It wasn't on purpose, but.
Yeah, she was tough. Who was the first boss in 2?
I guess the first there was like the first major boss was the Guardian, the big statue thing.
Right.
But there was like minor bosses in all the first little dungeons.
Yeah.
Like the weird egg rolly one where you had to throw the eggs at it to hit it.
Yeah. And I mean, they are pretty tough games. Like I played the first Darksiders on the hardest difficulty and it kicked my butt. In terms of difficulty, do you think the combat in this one is harder or?
It's probably on par. Like, hard would probably be equivalent to hard in the other games. I think probably the biggest difference, and you may have seen some of this coming through, is that you're not fighting as many enemies. So I think if you approach it in a one-on-one basis, it is harder. And that's going to be the first thing. You're like, wow, this one creature is way harder than one creature in any other Darksiders.
Yeah, so again, less about being mobbed, more about calculated. Ooh, what happened here?
So you finally killed the bugs underneath the throne, and they kind of fell down. I mean, now he's pissed. So now he's really mad because he's actually got to do something.
He sure is gross. Oh, look at that stomach.
And even though he's sloth, he's still a badass. Like, they're not wusses. Like, he can move if he absolutely has to. So at this point, he's just mad, and he's going to start coming at you with everything he's got.
He's going Hulk.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, that stomach animation is so unsettling. Just like, ugh. It's so bouncy.
If you look closely, he's got like a bunch of sores down there too.
I did see
Clearly
that.
Doesn't move that often.
Gross. No, this makes me excited to see what all the others look like, though, because they seem to be like, your take on the deadly sins doesn't seem to be exactly what we would expect from those traditionally. So
in the same way, we kind of switched up the horsemen, because I think in like traditional horseman lore, Fury's got a scale or something weird, and she's like, bring out the barley, and I don't know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Clearly, we didn't follow the reference.
What is it? It's like pestilence as
yes,
well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They even have different names, so we're doing the similar treatment to the sins, where it's like, in this case, we are actually using the names, but we're completely changing what it means to be one of the sins.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure no one imagined as a big fat bug. So.
No, but he does look good. And yeah, this looks hard. Like, I'm glad I'm not playing right now, because I think that we would have failed numerous times.
Yeah, you'll probably die on this boss a couple times before you.
That's good, though. That's a good amount of
We want
challenge.
you to feel like you could succeeded at something when you actually kill one of the sins.
Yeah, you feel like you earned it.
Yeah. Like, if you just walked up and killed him first try, you'd be like, all right.
All right, well, time to pack
I
up.
guess that was a deadly sin.
Deadly in quotations.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really like his wings as well. Does he actually fly, or is that for his jumping?
He'll do like a leap move. He couldn't sustain fly.
He's pretty fast.
Yeah, he's just too lazy.
There we go. Yeah, that's cool. So the bugs have stopped spawning at this point?
He killed them all, yeah.
Oh, he killed them?
Yeah, when he came out, he started swatting them with his mace. Not on purpose, just they were just there.
They just happened to be around. Jerk move, man. Alright, I guess we'll wait till we finish him off. But, so this is the first boss fight?
This is the first sin you kill, yeah.
Okay, so it's not necessarily,
It's not necessarily the first boss fight, but it is the first deadly sin you encounter.
Alright. And then that means there's 6 more.
There are 6 more, yes.
Oh, there we go. Got him.
And that's it, he's dead.
R.I.P. Fades into dust. Alright, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
More on Darksiders 3, stay right here on IGN. So those are all the little details about this Darksiders 3 gameplay reveal. If you like that, be sure to check out the announcement trailer and our mini documentary on how the game came to be. And wherever you are, be sure to subscribe to IGN.